My name is Prince Bryant II. I am running for the City of Houston, City Council, District B. I'm a former U.S. Navy sailor, veteran from the Persian Gulf War. I love serving the community and the country. For the last 2 decades, I've been a real active community participant. My father pastored the church there in 5th Ward. I pastored the church in Studewood for many years. Food pantries, feeding programs, backpack school giveaways. We've given over $160,000 worth of scholarship to young children through the Texas Southeast 3rd Jurisdiction. I've served as an on-site FEMA when Hurricane Rita and Ike all hit. I was there with FEMA, coordinating FEMA trucks, 18-wheelers, bringing ice, water, MREs, ready-to-eat meals. Partner with Red Cross and United to bring hot food, hot meals to the seniors. So we've just been in the community. I was Lakewood Precinct 0401 Precinct Chairman. Just wanted to see our votes count. I think that when Trump went into office, I said to myself, all of us gonna have to do something more. And so I just kind of got involved with the making votes count, giving minorities at the polling location a voice to participate. A lot of people want to vote, don't know what they need to do. Being a precinct judge, I was the final voice, whether somebody could vote or not. And I tell them, hey, go give me a light bill, go give me a Social Security card, go give me something with your picture on it, and come right back, And we was able to partner with that community and increase voter participation, voter turnout, at over 400%. And so then we moved from there. I have a son that was born at 26 weeks old. If he'd have been born a day earlier, he'd been a stillborn. He was a twin. His twin brother died. Being that premature, he had a lot of complications that came with it. And so he was diagnosed, with a mental disability. Asking those hard questions to the system, they couldn't give me answers, And so as I kept asking the questions, they kept saying, well, that entity is responsible for that, or this entity is responsible, or these people do that. And so finally I said, hey, I need to get more involved. And so I did. I ran for school board. Just kind of, I felt like I was blessed, had favor. My son was able to get into some programs. But I said, everybody's child does not have that parental advocacy and persistence. What can I do? And so I offered myself and got in the runoff and lost. And in the runoff, sometimes we don't come back to the polls for runoff, And so that was it. That was kind of my political aspiration, so to speak. Both of the previous city council members for District B endorsed me. Jerry Davis, Jarvis Johnson, all of the state reps on the north side that overlap in the District B endorsed me for that race. And I mentioned that to just reflect that, hey, I have those historic relationships with the Harold Duttons and the Jarvis Johnsons because of our community involvement and participation. And that was kind of it. And then I was approached. We had a young lady in the race that was Church of God in Christ, like I am. And we was content with supporting her. But then she got the LGBT endorsement. And that kind of moved a lot of energy toward me to participate in the process. And so, I just kind of dragged my feet because I'm not a politician. I'm a servant and I'm a worker, but I'm not a politician. But then as I started listening to what was being said and what was being done, and then understanding how the census for 2020 is going to redraw the map for District B, hearing the whisper campaigns around because District B is the largest landmass in Houston, and just how there are forces and powers that be that are looking to exploit in new enterprise and development. And I said, no, we need to create some sort of reality where people that look like me can benefit from what's coming down the pipeline. And so here I am, offer myself into the race, and I think that I have the relationships. I think that I have the comprehension of how city systems work. I think that I have a history of being active and present in the community. I think I can do a great job as city councilman for District. My platform is very simple: jobs, home ownership. Jobs, home ownership. I think the real way to close the gap, the racial gap, systemic racism, is through wealth. They didn't kill Martin Luther King until he started marching on economic parity. And I think we do that through jobs and home ownership. I've identified 540 vacant lots in Fifth Ward alone. Now, 20% of those lots are deemed hazardous because they had a gas station on it or washateria. But there are 540 vacant lots in District B. That's lots that the city is not making any revenue on. Those are lots that actually cost the city because we have to maintain those lots. My position is, let's identify a family or a person that's pre-qualified to build a home. Let's gift them that property, maybe at $1, $2. They build a home on that property. That property is now taxable for the city and for the county. And what was once just a simple eyesore where stray dogs can collect or illegal dumping can be dropped, now that's a home where someone that has a vested interest in that community. That's just Fifth Ward. Those 20% that's deemed hazardous, we can partner with the EPA and other nonprofits, dig that stuff out of the ground of District B, make that lot habitable again, put a green space or a family there in that lot. That's just Fifth Ward. You got Acres Home, Pleasantville, Lakewood, Rosewood, Scenic Wood, Greens Point. That the rest of the district is paralyzed with this kind of lack of vision and lack of interest for what can be done. And if we let's say we only did 30% of 504, that's 150 new homeowners in District B. That's rooftops, that's appealing to new business owners, that's people that have a vested interest in that community. When you have transient renters, they don't care about the neighborhood. They'll litter, they'll throw stuff down, they participate in crimes. But if you put a homeowner there, the value of that property goes up, the city benefits, the community benefits. That's what we're about: jobs, home ownership.
You talk about your work in the community in the past, and you being a pastor, and even this action plan that you're implementing, jobs and home ownership. You talk about the 500 say lots that's in the Fifth Ward area. Do you believe that there has already been some established plans to be implemented towards those things? And how do you believe your candidacy will be able to implement that and make it more effective than what it's already been?
Well, let me say two things about that. There are plans that the city that has in place and are working on for District B. We talked about that landmass, that large landmass. I think one of my job as a city councilman is to inform the residents and the citizens of the community to let you know what's happening in the city. One of the things that I propose is a homeowner's checklist. If there's a developer that's offering you $60,000 for your lot and your home is paid for, you don't know whether to take that money or not. There's some questions that you should probably ask before you sell your lot. As a city council member, I can come in and say, hey, don't sell that lot. In 5 years, that lot will be worth $250,000, not the $60,000 that they're offering you. I think it's my job to tell District B what's happening at City Hall, to inform them the direction that the city is moving in. If there's a rail system that's getting ready to come down the street, then the residents ought to know that, so that the citizens, the residents of District B are benefiting from the things that are happening in District B, not some foreign investor, not some California West Coast investor, not other politicians lining their own pockets. No, there's enough for everybody. There's enough to go around. And if you've been a homeowner, a multi-generational homeowner in Acres Home, then you should benefit from whatever development and whatever enterprise is coming to that community. So yeah, we're going to have, and I'm only saying it because I'm being recorded, because people will steal your talking points. But these are not talking points for me. These are focal points for an administration. But we're going to have satellite offices. Everybody does not like going downtown to City Hall. We're going to set up satellite offices in all of the major communities of District B, give you the schedule so you know when that satellite office is going to be open, 2 to 3 days a month, so that if mother, grandma, auntie don't want to go downtown, fight for parking, etc., hey, you come out there. I'm going to release a schedule in the first 100 days of where I will be in that tour and in those satellite offices. We're going to be hands-on in the community. I've been ministering and impacting people's lives since 1991. I started ministering at the age of 16. All I know is how to serve, be accommodating to people, how to bring people up. So this is not about some kind of personal ambition. I'm a minister, and I didn't want to be in the race, but I think this is a pivotal time in the city. We just had a strong blue wave with the Senate race with Beto, and the Republicans see it. That's why they did away with the straight ticket voting. And so this is a wonderful opportunity now to seize on some of that momentum and really make a difference for people that look like me and you. Again, I think it's about respect. I think that you have to have someone advocate. We're elected representatives. When you're casting your vote, you're not only casting your vote for people with good ideas, you're casting your vote for people who can get things done. And you have to have somebody in office that has the respect of their peers to be able to negotiate and be able to get things done. We've all seen it, and I don't call no names since I'm being recorded, but we've all seen people lone wolves in chambers, crying foul in chambers. They make great points, they make great advocacy, but they're not getting things done because they don't have the relationship to get those things done. The City of Houston system, there is a process in which each city councilman receives so much money for pet projects, neighborhood projects. The power of the mayor, as you reflected, does get to choose. You can come up with a wonderful list. And I've heard some wonderful lists in some of these forums for all of the things that people want to do. But the mayor gets to come back now and cherry pick that list. Hey, we'll do 1 for you, 2 in A, 3 in C, 1 in B. Now, if you don't have those relationships downtown in the horseshoe, you can't, I don't care how robust and how pragmatic your proposals are, you can't get them done. So what you have to do is, you have to have those relationships to be able to get your things done. And then what you can't get done at the city, you have to have relationships at the county and in the state legislature. So my projects may cost, for example, $30 million. And I know I don't have the best relationship with the mayor. Then I have to partner with the county commissioner, Rodney Ellis, or Boris Miles, the state senator, who also endorsed me for the school board, and say, hey, I need $10 million for this project. It's in your county, it's in my district, let's partner together. Okay, Bryant, let's do it. That's 10. Then I call Jarvis Johnson. Hey, I need $10 million. Now, when I get back to the city, all I have to say to Mayor is, hey, all I need is $5 million. So you saying you want to sponsor, you only want to give me one thing? Well, that one thing will cost 8, but all I really need is 5. Can I give you 3 back? or give me 3 extra. Now I've got my whole list done. Everybody else is getting 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. So ideals are good. We want the best ideas. We need the brightest minds. But you also have to have somebody in office that can be effective, that understands how the system works, and have the relationship to get things done. I'm that guy. I can get it done. Well, I think that is the beauty of democracy, that you have representative leadership. It's representative leadership. That means that when people put you in office, they want you to represent their interests. First of all, let me begin by saying Christ was a humanitarian. Jesus believed in helping people. He actually got a lot of criticism from the church because he was engaged and involved with helping people. So anytime you're talking about serving the community or working in the community, that's really the work of Christ. I think the second thing is everybody has a voice. The LGBT is at the table. They have their advocates. The NRA and gun people, they're at the table. They have their advocates. I think believers should have their advocates. I think people who love God and have a relationship with God, their interests should have just as much voice at the table as any of these other voices. That's not to diminish any voice, but as a representative leader, it's my job to represent those who have placed me in office. And so, no, I'm not ashamed of my Christianity. I'm not ashamed of my relationship with God. I believe in the Bible, and I also believe in the Constitution. I believe you can give to God what's his and then render unto Caesar what is his. I have no moral conflict with the job. I will state my piece, and I will defend the rights. I think that if you want to talk about gay rights, I think that's a very real conversation. I think it's a complex conversation. If someone doesn't want to bake you a wedding cake, that's not infringing upon your rights. That's them exercising their religious freedom. Now, if they won't sell you cookies in that bake shop because you're gay, well, now you're being discriminated against. So I think we have to understand the difference between refusing to bake a cake and refusing to sell cookies. But these are complex issues that as a minister gives me, I think, an advantage to wade through the details of things and look at it from not just a political component, but also morally, also through the lens of public safety. I was a Democratic voting precinct chairman. I served on a Democratic executive committee. And at the same time, I opposed the HERO ordinance, not on morality, but on public safety. I thought it was bad public policy to allow any male to go into a female restroom. I think that's bad public policy. That's not me taking a judgmental position against gays or heterosexuals. That's me saying, I think when I'm looking at the safety of young girls and young children, I think it's best that we keep the gender separate as relates to public restrooms. But again, these are complex issues. You have to have a sober mind, have to have due thought processes, and arrive to the best case scenario for the general public. I have somewhere to preach on Sundays, so I don't have to preach at City Hall. Needs is unique. It's not a one size fits all. It's not this kind of cookie cutter reality. I think that every neighborhood has their own issues. And so when I look at Acres Home, I look at, I appreciate the fact that they don't have as much issues with flooding as some of the other areas in District B. But they have their own issues as relates to, they've just put some new construction in there, coming off of Shepherd's Road, but they need more. When you go to the back end of Vickery, West Mountain, down there by that graveyard, We need to go back in there and look at how the neighborhoods are growing and then match the road infrastructure to the traffic patterns. So just those kind of real-time realities when I think about Acres Home. I also think about uh, black-owned businesses. You know, most of our black-owned businesses are in the Acres Home area, but there ought to be more. And I look at ways we can incentivize young black men, young black women that want to be entrepreneurs and give them space in areas like Acres Home. But yeah, these other parts of the city, they have that. They have real-time infrastructure timelines. Rice Village, the Galleria area, whatever they need, they're getting it real time. And I think that's my role as a district city councilman. Not to have all the answers, but be available to get the information, to understand the needs, and then advocate for those communities down at City Hall to get what they need. And I'm not running because I have all the answers. I have vision for some things that I think will change the trajectory of our community.